Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining me. My name is Dawn Huffy. I am the owner of Liberty Belle Coaching, and my life coaching certifications came through the Brave Thinking Institute. This morning when I woke up, was just getting into my day, the name of this video popped into my head, so I knew that I would be talking about boundaries in my video today. Let's start by asking the question, what is a boundary? In the simplest terms, boundaries help us keep the good in and keep the bad out. The most basic boundary setting is using the word no. This word lets others know what you will or will not do, or what you will or will not tolerate. As some of you might know, I am a parent educator. I worked in this field for almost 10 years facilitating parent groups with information and insights. There is a period of development called autonomy that children go through around the age of 2 years old. And I would tell my parents how important this stage of development was. Children at this age are coming into the understanding that they are separate from their parents. They no longer feel like they're part of their parents or all as one unit. They recognize that they are their own person. And while they go through this stage, they start saying no a lot. And parents that do not know the value of allowing their child to say no will unknowingly mess up their children. Not allowing your child to say no is a very big mistake. Some parents see their child saying no as being belligerent or being disrespectful. It's not. They are simply practicing this very important skill of saying no. Sometimes I used to say to my kids when they would say no to me, "No, Mom, I don't want to do that." I'd say, "Wow, you're such a good no sayer." Just to validate that, yes, good for you, you're saying no. There are going to be times when you're going to need to overrule your child's no. For example, maybe you're going for a ride in the car and they refuse to get buckled up. You definitely must step in, overrule their no, because you're responsible for their safety. So you just have to say, this time you must do what Mommy says, and you're getting buckled up. All right, and at the same time though, parents, you simply must allow children to say no frequently during the stage. Your child is learning to say no to things that they don't want, and this is a crucial skill that they must learn. They're going to need to say no down the road. We all need to learn to say no down the road. They need to say no when maybe one of their friends is being mean to another kid, and they can stand up and say, "No, stop doing that to that kid." Or they can stand up for themselves, or they can say no to sex. They could say no to drugs. They could say no to smoking. Saying no is such an important skill. I went to this book that I have for some information for today, and it is called Boundaries. And the subtitle is When to Say No and How to Say Yes. It is written by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. And on page 52, this is what they say. When parents teach children that setting boundaries or saying no is bad, they are teaching them that others can do with them as they wish. They describe this as boundary injury. I just really do like that label. Boundary injury means that you say yes to bad things. You have been taught around the age of 2, 3, 4, 5 to say yes to bad things because you weren't allowed to say no. Parents are sending their children defenseless into a world that contains much evil. We all know that there is so much evil out there. We must prepare our kids with this important skill. Evil comes in the forms of controlling, manipulation, and exploiting people. Evil comes in the form of temptation, like we talked about earlier. Teaching your kids to say, no, I don't want that. No, that doesn't work for me. No, I don't want to do that. Stop that. All of these phrases are really important. Blocking a child's ability to say no handicaps that child for life. Now that is a very strong statement. We don't want to do that. When I was in my young 20s, I bought a book, and the name of it was When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. And that book was by Wayne Dyer. I carried that book. I studied that book. I carried it around like it was my security blanket because I was terrible at saying no. Some of you might know from watching previous videos that I did not want to marry my husband when I was 19. He asked me to say no, or asked me to marry him, and I, in the end, could not say no. I didn't want him to feel bad. He was pouting, and I thought, oh, I'm hurting his feelings. Well, that didn't work out for me. That didn't work out for him. It was a disaster. But I felt guilty and bad about saying no. I was trained not to say no. Why does all this matter to you? If you are having trouble saying no to things and to requests that you do not want to do, you may have been conditioned into a pattern of being nice or being compliant. You may feel guilty about saying no, so you go along with what people want you to go along with, even though you know in your heart, you know you don't want to do that thing. If you want help in breaking these damaging patterns, I can help you do that. Just simply send me a message. In closing, if setting boundaries and keeping those boundaries are so overwhelming and exhausting for you, just know that you are fighting against a very ingrained pattern. But the good news is that patterns can be broken and new ones can be formed. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you.